From high above the ocean, the island looked untouched, almost holy. A small stretch of green land surrounded by endless blue, cut off from the world by distance and secrecy. Palm trees swayed gently, white buildings reflected the sun, and the water shimmered like glass. This was Little St. James, later known to the world as Epstein Island. To outsiders, it appeared to be a private paradise owned by a wealthy man. To those who would eventually speak out, it was a place where innocence was stolen and silence was enforced. For years, the island existed beyond accountability, protected by money, influence, and the unwillingness of society to question powerful people. Jeffrey Epstein, the man at the center of it all, was an enigma. He presented himself as a brilliant financier, someone who moved easily among the global elite. His wealth was immense, yet its origins were unclear. What was undeniable was his access. He dined with presidents, advised billionaires, socialized with royalty, and entertained scientists and celebrities. Epstein understood something crucial about the world: power does not just protect itself, it protects those who serve it. When he purchased a private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, he created a space where rules were flexible, oversight was minimal, and privacy was absolute. The island was not just property, it was a shield. Beside Epstein stood Ghislaine Maxwell, a woman whose presence gave legitimacy to his world. Educated, confident, and socially skilled, she blended seamlessly into elite circles. To many, she appeared sophisticated and harmless, a connector of people and ideas. But behind closed doors, prosecutors would later argue, she played a darker role. According to court testimony, Maxwell helped recruit underage girls, gain their trust, and normalize abuse. She reassured them, controlled them, and convinced them that what was happening was acceptable, even beneficial. Together, Epstein and Maxwell created a system that thrived on manipulation and silence, a system that went unchallenged for years. The true victims of the island were not famous, powerful, or protected. They were teenage girls, many from unstable or vulnerable backgrounds. Some were looking for work, others for guidance, safety, or simply someone to listen. They were promised money, opportunity, and care. Instead, they were trafficked, abused, and isolated. On the island, they learned quickly that resistance was pointless. There were guards instead of police, private planes instead of public airports, and powerful names instead of laws. The girls were made to feel small, replaceable, and voiceless. Many carried their trauma in silence long after they escaped, believing no one would ever take their word over that of a billionaire. For a long time, they were right. Epstein had faced legal trouble before and walked away with minimal consequences. Deals were made, charges were softened, and the world moved on. It seemed as though justice bent when wealth applied pressure. But silence does not last forever. One survivor, Virginia Giuffre, eventually decided to speak publicly. She accused Epstein and Maxwell of trafficking and sexual abuse when she was underage. Her courage encouraged others to come forward, and slowly, the carefully built wall of silence began to crack. As lawsuits and investigations expanded, something unexpected happened. Names began to surface. Not confessions, not convictions, but connections. Flight logs revealed famous passengers. Testimonies mentioned influential figures. Court documents referenced politicians, businessmen, academics, and royalty. The media seized on these revelations, and the public reacted with outrage and suspicion. To many, it felt like confirmation of long-held beliefs that the powerful live by different rules. Yet the reality was complex. Being named in documents did not automatically mean guilt. Some individuals had brief contact with Epstein, others were witnesses, and some were accused without charges ever being filed. The challenge became separating proven facts from speculation in a storm of rumors. One accusation drew global attention more than any other. Virginia Giuffre claimed that Prince Andrew of the British royal family had abused her when she was underage, alleging that Epstein and Maxwell arranged the encounter. The prince denied the allegations. There was no criminal trial, no formal judgment of guilt or innocence. Instead, the case ended in a civil settlement. While legally unresolved, the consequences were severe. Prince Andrew withdrew from public duties, lost military titles, and became a symbol of how proximity to Epstein carried lasting damage, regardless of legal outcomes. In 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested once again, this time on federal sex trafficking charges. The arrest reignited hope that justice might finally be served. Unlike before, this case appeared serious, public, and unavoidable. Epstein was placed in a New York jail to await trial. For the first time, it seemed possible that he would be forced to answer questions, reveal names, and face his accusers in court. But that moment never came. Epstein was found dead in his cell, and authorities ruled his death a suicide. The ruling did little to calm public anger. Given the failures in jail supervision and Epstein's powerful connections, doubts spread rapidly. Conspiracy theories flourished, fueled by a deep mistrust of institutions that had already failed to protect victims. Epstein's death ensured that many questions would never be answered. He would never testify, never stand trial, never fully expose the network of enablers around him. For survivors, this felt like justice stolen once again. But the story did not end there. Attention turned to Ghislaine Maxwell, who could no longer hide behind Epstein's shadow. In her trial, survivors testified openly about what they endured. Evidence was presented, and the jury listened. In 2021, Maxwell was convicted of sex trafficking-related crimes and later sentenced to prison. While her conviction did not dismantle every unanswered question, it represented accountability in a case defined by avoidance. Beyond criminal trials, civil cases continued. Epstein's estate was sued, and settlements worth over $100 million were reached to compensate victims. The island itself was sold, its buildings emptied, its reputation permanently stained. Yet no transaction could erase what had happened there. Little St. James transformed from a private playground for the elite into a global symbol of abuse hidden by power. Today, Epstein Island stands as a warning rather than a mystery. It reminds the world that systems designed to protect wealth and influence can fail the most vulnerable. It exposes how silence is maintained, not just by threats, but by disbelief, distraction, and denial. The Epstein case is often reduced to lists of names or sensational headlines, but at its core, it is a story about people who were ignored and voices that were dismissed for far too long. It is important to remember that Epstein and Maxwell are the only individuals legally proven guilty in court. Many others were mentioned, accused, or connected, but never convicted. That distinction matters, because justice depends on evidence, not assumption. At the same time, moral responsibility and legal guilt are not always the same. The case forces uncomfortable questions about how society rewards power and how easily wrongdoing can hide behind respectability. In the end, Epstein Island is not just a location on a map. It is a lesson. A reminder that unchecked power creates shadows where abuse can thrive. A reminder that victims often speak long before they are believed. And a reminder that silence, no matter how strong, eventually breaks. The island once whispered secrets to those trapped on it. Today, those whispers have become a warning heard around the world.